start with you though, because we did see Apple shares reach session lows on the back of this announcement. Is this a situation where we've got sort of sell the news, or is it about the price point? I mean, what's your reaction to what was announced today?
It's actually neither. What's actually happening is we still have the China overhang, really the concern about the China market, which was a growing market and not actually necessarily a market that is now, it's a market that we're worried about, and there's a risk factor there. And it's also the fact that India market also is not able to get their semiconductor chips and manufacturing up fast enough. But the good news is there's still demand. We are in a super cycle. There's about 250 to 300 million iPhones that need to get the 5G. There are folks that are about to enter the holiday season that are looking for something to give, and the safety features are definitely one of the items on the iPhone 15. And also the Ultra Watch actually brings in some of the things that people have been looking for in terms of brighter displays, and of course the ability to actually integrate more of your technologies with your personal health and of course your quantified self.
Bob, we all see these things through our own lens, right? And as I was just talking about a moment ago, I got an iPhone 11. Sure, I'd love a shiny new iPhone, but it works. It still works. Yep. I keep buying more memory, so I'm still paying into the Apple services machine. But so I guess what I'm asking is, are these incremental changes today enough to convert the people who don't need a new phone?
No, it's not going to convert people who don't need a new phone, I don't think. I mean, it's nice incremental changes. Ray laid out some things that I think are valid and important in terms of the China market, but and folks in that market are going to look at this and think, I think there's some nice things there. It is interesting, by the way, that they highlighted some Chinese gaming companies in their presentation, clearly wanting to make sure that they make that point. But as far as regular folks in the U.S., I think people are going to see, hey, if I do have an iPhone 11 like you, it might be time anyway. It's not necessarily because of what's on the 15 that's going to do it. I do think the roadside assistance was actually a pleasant surprise in terms of a new feature, a satellite-based feature that I think people will actually appreciate. And Apple does a bunch of these kind of nice little things that make you say, well, maybe not that one particular feature, but if I think about it collectively, and oh, by the way, if I look at the performance and capabilities versus my iPhone 11, it's much better. And so eventually people say, you know what, it is time. And since the prices didn't change, which a lot of people expected them to change a lot more than they did, I think people now are going to be a little bit more comfortable. That may be a little bit also why the street's reacting, because rumors were that the prices were going to be higher, which theoretically will lead to better profits. So that could be part of that downward spike in the price after the announcements.
So Ray, let's pick up on that point because Bob, I think, makes an interesting case. The expectation was that there would be higher prices. You would need to sell fewer units, but able to bring in more of the revenue. And yet, Bob, it sounds like you're arguing that, look, even at a lower price point, maybe that gives more incentive for users to sort of upgrade at a time when they're still strapped for cash. I mean, Ray, how do you look at that price point, $100 more when you look at the top end of the line? And is that enough of a catalyst, at least for the stock, just given that the iPhone 15 isn't, at least right now, expected to go gangbusters, partly because of the macro conditions we're looking at right now?
You got to agree with Bob's assumptions. I think the lower price point in this economy is going to actually drive demand. People are going to say, hey, it's about the same price, but I need two more features, right? The roadside assistance is definitely something I think about with kids, right? Something I think about when you're traveling. And I think that's an example of that capability of bringing hardware, services, and experiences together. I think the bigger issue is not this. It's if you can expand the base, move them to 5G, there are more service to sell. And this is, of course, the device is just the beginning. The services is really about what everything is about, of getting the average revenue per user much higher. And what we've seen is a consistent growth on the services side. Even if these sales go down, people are still using the services. That's the hedge. And that's the base case you have to make for the Apple stock, which is why a $200 buy rating is not out of the question. The question is really, what's the China demand and the overhang? That's the one I'm most worried about.